All right, hey, what's up, guys?
Starting the Western Conference.
You probably just watched our Eastern Conference video. This is for our West one. And our first series, we got the Oilers versus the Blackhawks. Bode, take it away.
I do not think Chicago stands a chance against Edmonton. I think Edmonton will win the series 3-1, but I will not be surprised if they sweep them. This is the only play-in series that I could see being a sweep. McDavid and Draisaitl just are too overpowered for Chicago's defense. Their defense is kind of bad there. Chicago's not the same team as they were when they were winning cups. And the only way I really see this being a close series is if Taves and Kane carry.
I also got Oilers 3-1. As I touched on in the last video, this is a Stars League. McDavid and Draisaitl will be too powerful for the Blackhawks to stop.
Yeah, Corey Crawford will not.
Corey Crawford also missed most of training camp. Here's the thing. Oilers, not a very good team. Their penalty kill and power play are awesome.
Other than that, it's not very good.
But their special teams are like the best in the league. And I feel like after this round, they're not going to make much noise because I feel like live by the sword, die by the sword. And I feel like if the sword you're living by is special teams, you're going to die come playoff time.
One of the key reasons to beat the Oilers is if you don't take penalties, you have a good chance at winning.
And in the playoffs, all penalties are called less, as we all know, which is kind of stupid. That's not how it should be, but it just is.
Ryan Kessler be like holding the pad.
That literally is exactly what happened. I just feel like the Oilers' strength is going to be neutralized.
Okay, injuries for this series. We got Nygaard out for the Oilers.
No!
And Mike Green has opted out. Two big names there. And for the Hawks, Seabrook, I believe, will not play.
That's a good thing.
And Andrew Shaw and Smith are injured.
All right, Maldak, keys to the series. What you got?
Keys to the series are McDavid and Draisaitl versus Kane and Taves. I'm not sure if they'll go head-to-head, but if they do, those players are expected to shine, and we'll have to see who comes out on top.
I also feel like the Stars are the biggest key to this series because everyone's going to be rusty. We'll see who dominates. Also, goaltending is huge. I don't know what the Oilers are going to be doing. Are they going to do their platoon with Smith and Koskinen? Are they just going to go with one? I don't know. I don't think Corey Crawford is going to be very good because he didn't have a great year. He's obviously coming in even rustier than everyone else who's already rusty. We'll have to see what happens there. Who knows? Mike Smith last year with Calgary was very good.
Yeah. I mean,
that was last year.
I think the Oilers' goaltending is very unpredictable. Some days they're great, and then others it's bad.
Obviously, special teams is another key.
Yes.
If they can continue to generate power plays, I feel like the Oilers will easily take this series. But if obviously we all know it tightens up a bit, if the penalties stop getting called, who knows what's going to happen.
My last key to the series is secondary scoring. That's something Edmonton is not great at. They're mostly carried by McDavid, or their top two lines, I guess, basically carry them. But in the playoffs, third and fourth lines need to come through.
The Oilers also addressed secondary scoring at the deadline, acquiring players like Athanasiou and Ennis.
Those are good
at
pieces.
the deadline, the Blackhawks also sold, but can't really blame them because who knew that this was going to happen? Nobody. So we'll have to see what happens there. Bode, Series MVP.
Series MVP, I got Connor McDavid. I mean, there's nothing much else I can say.
I agree with that. I feel like
He's gonna go
McDavid.
off.
Draisaitl is also an option, but McDavid, he's another level.
Leading goal scorer, either Draisaitl or Kane. I feel like Kane is going to go off. I think he'll be Chicago's only hope. I mean, playoff Kane is pretty insane.
I got Leon for leading goal scorer, but I could also see Kane. Not a lot of weapons on either team other than the top guns, so I guess we'll see what happens there.
Best defenseman, both teams' defense isn't great, but for best defenseman, I have Ethan Bear. And this, my pick for Chicago is kind of biased. I put Adam Boqvist, but I just put that because he's sick. He is pretty awesome.
I can't really pick any Hawks defenders because I feel like they're all old and slow, other than like Boquist, obviously.
And Slater, quack, or however you say it. Cool. He's bad.
I feel like top defenseman will be Oscar Klefbom.
Cleffy.
If he can continue to play like he did in the previous few years. Kind of had an off year this year. We'll see how he bounces back, but I feel like he's going to be the best defenseman in this series.
We saw his first NHL goal.
We did against the Ducks.
Yeah,
it was sick.
was
Andrew
sick.
France scored the game winner in OT.
Overtime.
That was awesome.
Okay, moving on. Best 10D, I have no idea.
Who knows?
I don't know who's starting, and I don't know who's starting for Chicago either.
Kind of a lame answer for the predictions, but we have no idea. Because Corey Crawford's not very good, and who knows who's playing for the Oilers.
And sleeper, I have Kyler Yamamoto because the kid's kind of a beast.
Yamamoto's a good pick. I got Tyler Ennis because I feel like he
Yeah.
was a great pickup at the deadline. I feel like he's going to provide that secondary scoring that Cody was talking about.
Okay, and last point, if Chicago gets Laugh, obviously Tays, Kane, Lafreniere would be an insane line and also one of the best lines in hockey probably. And Doc, DeBrincat, Lafreniere would be line of the future. Except I feel like with Chicago, their forwards are probably the best part of their team, even though they're not that good. It's just because their defense and goaltending is very weak, and that's what they need help with.
I also agree. I feel like Laugh would make a big difference. I don't feel like he'd make as big of a difference with the Blackhawks as he would with other teams.
Yeah.
But I feel like, as you mentioned, DeBrincat, Doc, Laugh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Next series, I'll try my best not to be biased, but we got the Yotes and the Preds. Ethan, take it away.
I got Preds in 5. I feel like this is going to be a very, very, very close series. I feel like even though they traded away Subban at the draft last year, this is still a very elite defensive core in Nashville, and they brought in Duchesne, which will help with their power play as it did this year because they struggled on the power play last year and previous years. And when they went to the Cup final a few years ago, their biggest problem was they didn't have any center depth because Johansson got hurt. Now they got Johansson, Sissons, Duchesne, Turris. I also feel like this can go either way. I'm not totally confident in saying Preds in 5. I feel like the Preds are the better team, but here's the kicker. Pekka Rinne sometimes is horrible, but also sometimes he's like Vezina candidate. Here's all I'm saying. If you switch the goalies on this team, if you put Kemper in Nashville and Rinne on Arizona, 3-0 Predators.
Yeah.
Easy. But Rinne sometimes sucks ass, as I like to say. But I feel like if he can stay consistent, this is a Preds close victory. But if he's bad, Yotes all the way.
I do agree with a lot of that. I'm really trying my best not to be biased, but I'm going to say Yotes in 5. But I think that because both teams have no injuries, and I really feel like when Arizona is a healthy team, especially when Kemper is healthy, I feel like he kind of carries them. But I think they're a pretty good team. Hall, I'm really expecting to go off. He's pretty much playing for his next contract, so I really think he'll bring it. There have been rumors that Hot Dog Man Phil the Thrill has played through minor injuries this year. I really was not impressed with his play at all this previous season. So hopefully if we can get MVP Taylor Hall going and Kessel, who played on the Pens, if both of those guys can play like their superstar ways for the Yotes, I really think that the Yotes can win this series. But like Ethan mentioned, I really think that the play of Rinne will have a big factor in this series. If Rinne is bad, I see the Yotes winning. But if Rinne is good and consistent, I can see the Preds winning in 5.
I agree with that. I just feel like this is all on goaltending.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nashville has more playoff experience, but this is also
that's another thing.
This is also
a way more playoff experience.
Different type of beast that no one's ever played in before.
Yeah.
No one's ever played a 3-game series here. We'll see, because Darcy Kemper can get real hot and 3-0 Arizona. but
Ooh, that'd be sick.
who knows? This is by far the closest series in the West for me. What's some of the keys you got?
Well, we already mentioned goaltending, but the other one is both teams. Nashville probably has the upper hand on defense, but Arizona definitely does not have a bad D-core. Besides Alex Goss, he's kind of bad. But offense, I think, is very crucial in this series because players like Forsberg, Johansson, Arvidsson, they definitely weren't as good this year as they have been in previous years.
Especially Arvidsson.
Yeah.
Not great.
Arizona, they can sometimes score lots of goals, and then there's other games where they can barely manage to score one. We're pretty much just going to have to wait and see what happens, I guess. Yeah, anything else?
I also feel like a big key is just like the last series, depth scoring. I feel like for a team like Arizona, if they want to pull it through, they're going to need their dudes like Vinny Hinostroza, Connor Garland, Christian Dvorak, all those kind of dudes who are kind of low-key. They need to step up and really push the pace here if they want to take home this 5-game series dub.
Okay.
Series MVP mode, who you got?
Darcy Kemper. Like, he's going to
Pretty.
go off.
I got Roman Josi, just because I feel like he's by far the best defenseman in this series. I don't think Arizona's got anyone on the same level. I don't think Nashville has anyone on the same level as Josi.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson is an extreme disappointment in my eyes. He is not nearly as good as he used to be, and I feel like just ever since he's been named captain, he started going downhill.
A line, Ekman-Larsson. Rister scores! Oliver Ekman-Larsson!
This guy, Nick Turtle, had just had 5 goals. He's been pulled, and here's Oliver Lawson toss him. I think that's pretty good. I mean, really good. I really do believe that. 2 Swedes.
I'm not saying he's bad.
Yeah, he's not bad.
He's just not the same player.
Yeah.
Leading goal scorer, I think we can both agree on this one. Taylor Hall.
Yeah, I have Taylor Hall too.
If he can come back,
MVP
Taylor Hall. Because this past year, not very good. He didn't have the greatest last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But obviously, as we talked about, this is a hard reset for all teams and all players. Let's see if Taylor Hall can shine. I think he's the most talented goal scorer between both of those teams. We'll see.
Best defenseman, we both have hands down Roman Josi. It's not even a Norris candidate. It's not even a question. Best 10D, probably hands down to Darcy Kemper.
I think it's Darcy Kemper, but obviously I have no idea which Pecorino we're getting.
Yeah.
So right now I say Kemper, but it could be Rene with the snap of a finger.
Okay.
Sleeper Morebare?
My sleeper is Connor Garland. I still think that he's a very underrated player. I really like his play. He's small, but he gets in there, scores greasy goals, and
Off his face.
Yeah, off his face, off his ass, off his leg, you name it. He's gonna get it done.
My sleeper, I talked about him a little bit earlier, Colton Sissons. I think he's a great player.
Yeah. He's a good penalty killer, I think.
And a good penalty killer. Throws the body. He can chip in some goals. I feel like he'll be crucial to the success of the Predators.
So, last point, we will have different opinions, but if Nashville gets Laugh, I think this should solve their goal scoring issues. Hopefully with the presence of him, he can bring up Forsberg, Johansson, Arvidsson. Hopefully he can bring them back. And really, if Rene plays good or if Saro steps up in the future, that team can be a cup contender, definitely.
I agree with that for Nashville because I do feel like this down year is the outlier out of all these players' years. But for Arizona, I feel like especially if they can't re-sign Taylor Hall, which I'm of the opinion of Hall's not staying in Arizona, but I don't know what Cody thinks on that. I feel like he's going somewhere else.
It's really tough. It depends on how Arizona plays, I think, but I don't want him to sign a huge deal if he does re-sign with the Yotes, but if he were to just re-sign like a 3-year deal with the Yotes, I can definitely see that happening.
If he does not re-sign, I feel like it's kind of wish-wash because I feel like Hall definitely right now is the better player, but I feel like the future will be Laugh. But if they can re-sign Hall and have Laugh, that's pretty sick. Put him in within the future Barrett Hayton. Cody loves
Oh,
Barrett
I
Hayton.
love Barrett Hayton. He's sick.
I feel like that's going to be a pretty solid squad for the future, and hopefully they can put up some numbers. Here in our third series, we got the Canucks versus the Wild. Not going to intro it much. Cody, take it away.
I have Vancouver winning this series 3-1, but just like the Edmonton and Chicago series, I can see Vancouver sweeping this series. Personally, I just think Vancouver is a better team on offense, defense, and goaltending. But somehow I find that Minnesota just is one of those teams that finds ways to win. I don't know how, but for some reason they're a good team.
I think I got 3-0 Canucks. I feel like this is the easiest series to predict. I feel like the Canucks are better in every aspect. I think Minnesota's too slow to keep up with the pace of the Canucks, especially with players like Pettersson, Besser, Hughes, Toffoli. I feel like this is an easy 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, Vancouver should not lose this series.
And Devin Dubnyk this year was not very good. And then you got not Vezina candidate because he wasn't nominated, but if he stayed healthy, Markstrom could have been in there for the Vezina. He was unbelievable this year. I think this is easy 3-0. Vancouver's way too quick for them.
Injuries, Minnesota's fully healthy, but Vancouver has Ferland out, which he didn't really even play in all his previous year, so I don't think that's a big factor.
I feel like if Ferland was in the series, it would be more of a game changer, kind of like Josh Anderson with
he brings
Columbus.
some bond, and he's a good power forward. Tyler Graveck, once again, he's not a big component in this series, and Leaf legend Josh Leivo.
Josh Leivo's awesome.
He's kind of sick, and he's a pretty good player, but I still think Vancouver can pull it out. Keys to the series, I only really got two. Is if Minnesota can shut down Vancouver's offense, which I personally don't see happening. And will we see the Vezina-style Dubnyk or the Garbo-style Dubnyk?
I feel like some of my keys, I have really one big one. Can Minnesota keep up with Vancouver? I don't think so, but obviously I'm no professional. I'm just some dude here talking out my ass sometimes. I don't think they're quick enough. I feel like Vancouver is way too young and way too quick. Not as much experience, but I don't feel like that's as big of a factor in this series.
Yeah, like Minnesota's got a bunch of, not to be rude, but old guys. Like even Dubnyk's not, he's kind of old.
2000 something.
Eric Stahl's old. Ryan Suter's ancient. So yeah, Vancouver's just a younger, better team.
Unless Markstrom can't pull it out, I don't think.
Yeah, but then they
Minnesota
got Demko. I mean, Demko, he's not even that good, but he's a better backup than Stalock, I think.
They look at a decent year.
I
Who's
don't
your
know
series
against
MVP there, buddy?
Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy
Yeah.
for both of us.
Leading goal scorer. I got Pettersson there too, but just because I think he's a beauty, I'm going to also say Kevin Fiala. Just because he kind of tore it up and somewhat carried Minnesota there.
Yeah, I got Brock Besser or Elias Pettersson.
Best defenseman, we both probably have hands down Quinn Hughes.
Yeah. Young, dynamic, creates offense, too quick. I don't think...
Calder Trophy finalist.
I think you should win Calder.
Yeah.
Makar's pretty good too, but best Tendy,
Markstrom.
easy.
Hands down.
Markstrom. Who's
And
your sleeper?
My sleeper is Adam Gaudette. I think he's a pretty good young player, and I just love it when he scores because he has some sick sellies and he gets really hyped when he scores.
I don't know if this is as much of a sleeper, but as you mentioned earlier, Kevin Fiala, I think
I don't think that's a sleeper, but
I think
okay.
it's kind of a sleeper.
He's like Minnesota's best forward this year. So if Minnesota gets Laugh, I think Laugh and Fiala will be a great duo. I don't know if they'd play on the same line, but it'd be a great 1-2 punch and be good on the power play. Anyway, if Minnesota gets Laugh, he definitely will not make them a contender. They're not a good enough team yet, but definitely Fiala and Lafreniere will be great on the power play together.
I agree. I think Lafreniere in Minnesota is the most boring option because Minnesota is boring and I hate you because you're boring. That's the only reason.
Okay, I'll keep going.
But Laugh and Fiala would also be sick, as Mode said.
Yeah.
But don't go to Minnesota. That is boring and lame and dumb.
Last series, we got the Flames taking on the Jets. Ethan, start us off.
I got Flames in 5 for one reason and one reason only. The defense of Winnipeg is horrible.
That is literally, I'm not being biased, that is literally my same reason. I say Flames in 5 because of the Jets' terrible defense.
I think Neil Pionk is awesome.
Yeah.
Connor Hellebuck is awesome. But not a lot of defense there to control that series. I think Calgary's more well-rounded than the Jets. But
yeah,
obviously this is also sort of a toss-up.
both teams have pretty good forward group, but I just feel if Winnipeg wants to win this series, they have to score a lot of goals, because if Calgary plays like they can, I think Winnipeg's defense will be in trouble.
Calgary's also a historically horrible team in the playoffs.
Yeah, that is another thing.
And
It's just-
Connor Hellebuck can steal the series. I feel like this is more of a coin flip, but I still think it's Flames in 5. Yeah, injuries.
Calgary is Valimaki. I think he's practicing, but I don't think he's playing, and I don't even know if he's played in the Chell yet, so not a big deal. Hamonic obviously opted out, and Winnipeg, Brian Little's injured, and so is
Oiler legend Mark
Letestu, the
Letestu,
mustard pack.
Mustard Boy.
Yeah, so, I mean, Little is he's a pretty good player, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty good penalty killer face-off man, I think, and Letestu, I mean,
He's guy.
yeah, he's kind of just a dude, Oiler legend, I guess.
Keys to
Anyway,
the series, what about it?
He's the series at goaltending. Like Ethan said, Hellebuck could steal the series, but David Riddick is kind of unpredictable. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's bad. So if David Riddick can play decent, though, I think Calgary will come out on top.
I feel like defense is by far the biggest key here. If Winnipeg can just be average, I feel like they can win this series, but I don't feel like their defense is overly average. I feel like it's below average. And Gaudreau, Monahan did not have a great year. Can they step it up and change their season around? Who knows? Let's see if they can shut them down. It's going to be tough. I feel like Winnipeg's got the offensive edge, but defensive edge goes to Calgary hands down.
That is my last key to the series: is what stars will rule in the series. Will it be Gaudreau, Monahan, Lindholm, or Connor Scheifele, Wheeler? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
No. MVP mode, who you got?
I have my man Matthew Tkachuk.
He is the biggest Matthew Tkachuk fan ever.
I absolutely love Matthew Tkachuk.
Matthew Tkachuk hit the post earlier, scores here.
But here's Matthew Tkachuk and Sidney Crosby. We're just showing lots of great hands here. And
Yeah,
with the
watch this
Sedins.
here. Nice little between the legs there. Tay-Chuck like that. He said, yes, I call him Tay-Chuck. He doesn't like that. Anyhow, here's the overtime goal they scored right here. And Tay-Chuck, I said he plays like Marchand. Watch this here. Now, this is what really bugged me. You know what I think of Tay-Chuck? I really like him. There's no reason, I don't understand why Tay-Chuck, if he was going to do something, why he didn't do it. You know, we're talking about, I mean, Tay-Chuck is good, and Giordano's good. Don't get me wrong, they're all good. I can't let Doughty off the hook. You know how much I love him, but this Tay-Chuck is really something. I don't know what Clifford's doing here. And when he played in London, I remember in the playoffs, he had 18 goals, Tay-Chuck. He had 20 goals. Natel scores that. No, that's his goal. That's Tay-Chuck again. And there's Jill Bouchard right there, boy.
It was fantastic. There's the guy right there, my buddy Tay-Chuck at the end to straighten him out.
And he doesn't like the way I say Tay-Chuck, but I say Tay-Chuck anyhow.
Los Angeles.
I think he can do everything. He can hit, he can fight, he can score, he can pass, but I think he's going to tear it up. I think he'll get in Connor Hellebuck's kitchen, and I think he'll be a really big pain in the ass.
I got my MVP as Johnny Gaudreau. I feel like Johnny Hockey's going to take over, even though he did have the down season. I feel like
He was cooking at the end of the year, though, kind of.
that's true. I feel like he's going to take over and pick apart this weak defense that the Jets got.
Leading goal scorer, I have Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor is a stud.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he scores goals like crazy, and I think he'll be Winnipeg's best forward.
I got Blake Wheeler or Mark Scheifele.
I don't know about Wheels, but Scheifele I can see. I don't know about wheels.
Oh my God, Mode.
Sorry, I can see Shifley, but I don't know about wheels. Anyway, keep
Well,
going.
we'll see. I feel like they're both very good players. I feel like they're going to light it up this series, but I don't think it will be enough for them to push through past this qualifying round.
Best defenseman, I really didn't know who to say for this, really. I mean, Mark Giordano, if he can play Norris style. But other than that, I mean, Winnipeg's defense is out of the picture.
Dylan DeMello.
So, I mean, other than Giordano, the only two that I can maybe see are Anderson or maybe Noah Hannafin.
I think Noah Hannafin will be the best defenseman in this series. I think he's the most complete defenseman Calgary has. Not overly overwhelming on offense, better defensively. I feel like he's very well-rounded, as I just said.
He's kind of got some flow.
Does have flow.
Yeah.
If you watch our baseball videos, flow is awesome. You need flow to be awesome. That's just how I feel. Goaltending, I think we can easily agree.
Yeah.
Connor
That's
Hellebuck,
hands down.
hands down. Sleeper mode? Who you got?
My sleeper pick is Andrew Mangiapane. I really like him as a player. I think he scores some big goals, and him, Backlund, and Kachuk, I think is a great line.
I couldn't agree more. I think Andrew Mangiapane will be the sleeper pick here. I can also see depth forwards, like, not per se Derek Ryan, but like players like that. Dylan Dubé, Derek Ryan, all those like bottom six Flames forwards. I think
Milan. I'm just kidding.
Zach Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Oh my God, that's another.
Buddy Robinson.
That's another key is if the Flames are dressing these big bums
Yeah, we'll
who
have to
can't
make
skate.
an NHL video on bums.
Milan will be the thumbnail. Another key that we didn't mention, if they're dressing big bums who can't play, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can't agree more. I think it's Mangiapane, or it's going to be a depth forward like Dubé or Derek Ryan or something like that. Yeah. What do you think with Laugh?
Laugh, if he goes to the Jets, offense will be unstoppable. That him, Shifley, Patrick, as Don Cherry says, your
buddy Patrick Laney.
National line. Anyhow, and your buddy, Patrick Laney, how you say?
Line A, I think.
He loves him. He loves him. No.
They'll just tear it up, but I don't know if that offense can carry their defense.
I do agree. I feel like it will be top 5, if not top 3 offenses in the NHL. That would be unstoppable. They just need to bring in a few pieces on their blue line. They're going to be a cup contender. Pretty easy there, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's about it. So
Like and subscribe there, buddy.
comment below anything you disagree with, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching there, buddy.